Hey there, Vero 311, former Marine infantryman, Revolutionary War reenactor, and amateur history enthusiast. And let's start this video. And on today's video, I thought I would change it up. I have 5 pre-rolled cartridges of 64 caliber ball. I'm gonna be firing that out of this 69 caliber French infantry musket. This is a reproduction. I will be engaging 2 targets, one at 75 yards and one at 100 yards. The goal of this video is to see how fast I can reload the musket and how accurate I can be with the musket after adding in a little bit of physical fitness. So I'll be running out 100 and back and then begin to shoot. The infantry is a leg occupation, and so that is what this is today. Gotta get that heart rate up. I got a Fitbit to monitor, and yeah, see how we do.
In the 18th century, soldiers often had to run into position. In this scenario, I am called up to a redoubt that needs to be reinforced. Think of the men who ran to reinforce the breastworks at the battles of Bunker Hill or Great Bridge in 1775. I'm carrying about 10 pounds of gear, basically just the bare essentials. In reality, soldiers often hauled up to 60 pounds, blankets, rations, tools, extra ammo, and more. In a moment like this, there's no time. I've got my musket, a hunting bag, and whatever I could grab on the run. When I reach the redoubt, I'll need to load and fire as quickly and accurately as possible to help repulse the British advance.
All right, let's begin firing.
My goal is an accurate shot every 20 seconds. Let's see if I can hold up under pressure. I'm going to pull out a pre-made paper cartridge and bite off the tip. Using the powder from the paper cartridge, I will then prime the pan and then close the hammer. Casting about, I will pour the rest of the black powder down the barrel. I will then turn the cartridge around and push the ball down the muzzle of the barrel, pulling out my ramrod to finish ramming the cartridge and ball to the bottom of the breech, returning the ramrod. I will then bring the firelock to the shoulder and engage my first target at 75 yards. Unlike the modern military, there was no standardized basic or advanced training, no centralized infantry school or formal instruction. Drill and training were conducted at the company level, with the captain, assisted by his junior officers and non-commissioned officers, responsible for preparing the men. As an American, I likely would have been exposed to military service through the mandated militia system. The militias were commonly organized at the county level and required all able-bodied free men, generally between the ages of 16 and 60, to muster regularly and maintain a state of readiness. In short, this system provided the local communities with a rapid and cost-effective defensive force that would be crucial in America's war for independence. Let's look at the Virginia Militia Act from 1755 to better understand. Every enlisted foot soldier in the Virginia militia was required to be properly armed and ready for service. Each man had to show up to muster with a working firelock, a bayonet fitted to it, a cutting sword, a double cartridge box, and at least 3 charges of powder. He was also required to keep at home 1 pound of powder and 4 pounds of lead shot, and bring that with him when called into the field. If a man was too poor to afford these arms, his captain and the county's commanding officers could report it to the local court. The court was then required to purchase arms for him, ordering them from England if needed. What's interesting to note is that the cost of this firearm could be paid for by the next county tax. These government-supplied weapons were marked with the name of the county, and it was illegal to buy or sell them. If a poor soldier died or moved away, his issued weapons had to be returned to the militia captain or county commander, so they could be given to the next man in need. It's important to note that there was no standardized caliber for the militia guns of this era. Back on the range, you can start to see that I'm really running into the issues of loading as the fouling is building up in the barrel with the repetition of shots, which makes the reloading a little bit more, requires a little bit more elbow grease. And I also have a terrible habit, which I will change moving forward, and that is the location of my palm in returning the ramrod. Engagement ranges during the Revolution run as low as 20 yards, out to the much less accurate 1 to 200 yards, though this fire still could be effective at those ranges. General Washington clearly illustrates his doctrine. All soldiers will behave with coolness and bravery, and will be careful not to throw away their fire. The general recommends them to load for their first fire with 1 musket ball and 4 or 8 buckshot according to the size and strength of their pieces. If the enemy are received with such a fire at not more than 20 or 30 yards distance, he, General Washington, has no doubt of their being repulsed.
Round's complete. That was good. That was a good workout. Let's go downrange and see how we did. Target, you can see we have 1, 2, 3 impacts. Let's head out to 100 yards and see how we did. At 100 yards, you can see we have 1 low impact, but this is about belt level. That's a pelvis hit. That's a disability kill. So I'll take that. We missed the other round, but honestly, hitting 1 at 100 from the standing after I got my heart rate up, I like it. I'll take that. That'll wrap up the moving and shooting portion of today's video. I just checked my Fitbit and I got my heart rate up to 141. The biggest reason I did that, because it's important to see how you handle just an itty bitty amount of stress, physical exertion. I'm a pretty athletic person. I run about 125 miles a month. I always had a pretty good cardio, but even then, running just 100 yards and all I'm taking is probably like 15 pounds on my back, plus my shooting pouch and then a 10-pound gun. You can see I'm breathing quite heavily. It's important for us to remember the human side of combat, on how a parade ground you might be able to shoot 3, 4, 5 rounds, but if you just add a little bit of stress, a little bit of physicalness, you're going to start to see a huge decrease from the pristine to the real. The soldiers of the 18th century, they're humans. They're young men mostly that were going forward, and they had this same sort of emotions that we would have today. They weren't superhuman. They didn't think of things differently. They still probably cared about their life just as much as we care about our lives. So I'm going to close out today's video by reading from Infantry in Battle by Alexander S. Burns. This book is amazing. I will link down to it in the description. Please check it out if you're interested in 18th century warfare. This is just a hard-hitting, well-researched text to have. And the one account I'm going to read for comes from the Battle of Guilford Courthouse. One of my favorite ones. I've reenacted it a few times. The terrain was kind of similar to this, where it was early spring. The British come upon 3 already pre-deployed lines of Americans. The first 2 lines are militia, and that 3rd line is Continental regulars. So this account is from a British perspective, Roger Lamb, and it's kind of funny because the British are known for like this quick, aggressive, forward-moving attacks, and the Prussians or the Germans are a little bit less fast. But even in the Battle of Guilford Courthouse, he makes this observation of how the von Bose regiment joins the British in the advance with speed. After quickly laying aside our tornisters and everything that could impede a soldier, the 71st and von Bose regiment received orders to move forward and attack the enemy. We had not advanced more than 300 yards when we found a deep ditch in front of us, with tall banks and full of water. After crossing it with difficulty, we came to a fenced wheat field. On the other side of this field, 1,500 Continentals and militia were deployed in line. I formed the battalion into line with the greatest of speed, and we ran to meet the enemy in tolerable order. We have to make sure that we don't overread. Are they doing the full sprint like I'm doing? Probably not, because it's really hard to keep unit cohesion, but they're moving faster. The biggest takeaway is just that battles are fluid during the 18th century. It's not just mechanical infantry marching at each other, and it's not just men sitting at 50, 100, or 20 yards exchanging fire, not moving. No, they are trying to flank. They're pushing forward. They're being pushed back. Battles are dynamic. That's one of the nice things about being a living historian. I'm able to get the feel of moving in formation, the feel of hearing cannons and all that. But it was fun today to come out and shoot actual rounds at actual targets, and just to see the physical effect of accuracy and rate of fire after having the heart rate go up. I'll continue to make more content about 18th century warfare. Check out this book in the description down below. Let me know what you think of this video. And if you have any ideas of what I should do, or maybe something I'm not taking into account, leave that comment down below. I love engaging with you guys. It's been such a fun experience for me on my end to test out and make content and learn, and it's the best way to go through it. And I include all of the how long it takes me to load, just to show you that there's a lot of dynamics that go into 18th century warfare. So until next time, take care.